everybody. We are popping in today to talk about working, homeschooling, and Corona. Oh my. So we will get started in just a moment. My co-host, Raioni Madison, will be joining me, founder of 3D Girls, Inc. And so we are super excited to have this conversation today, working, homeschooling, Corona. Oh my, because it is so real. And while I wait, I'm going to take advantage of this moment to sanitize, because this has become the new normal. Just constantly putting on hand sanitizer for no reason at all. I've been in my house, I'm safe, but still, the Corona is real. How y'all doing today? I'm glad that you have joined us. We will be starting our live at 2 o'clock, and the topic is working, homeschooling, and Corona. Oh my. I don't know about y'all, but this has been the craziest week ever. I'm trying to figure out what movie I have auditioned to be in that I didn't know about, because I literally feel like I'm in a movie. Horror movie, to be exact. This joint has been mind-boggling how it's halted the world. Like, the whole world has literally slowed down. And so we wanted to take some time and check in with educators, parents, students, make sure we're not all losing our mind. Really touching base on that topic of working, homeschooling, and Corona. Oh my, because they are so overwhelming. So give us a few moments. We will be kicking off officially at 2. While you wait, let me know where you're from. I'm so curious, how has Corona affected you? Has it reached you yet? I don't know really many areas it hasn't reached yet, but I'm positive it has touched your life and affected you in some way. Here in Atlanta, the governor has called for the closing of all of our schools. So they are all officially closed, which has been wild. I have a 4-year-old, and homeschooling him all day has been so real. But we're making it through, and we are making progress as we go. Hey, Raioni. Hey, Noemi. It's good to see you all. I'm glad you've joined. Hey to everyone else that I may have missed. Those comments come in so fast. But again, we are super excited to be talking to y'all about working, homeschooling, and this coronavirus, and really check in and see how y'all are doing. Because if you are anything like me personally, you may be struggling a little bit, and I am more than okay with saying that this has been a challenge. This has been really surreal, and that this is different. This is incredibly different than anything we have ever experienced. I'm going to tag in the founder of 3D Girls, Inc. Hey everybody, we are popping in today to talk about working, homeschooling, and Corona. Oh my. So we will get started in just a moment. My co-host, Raioni Madison, will be joining me, founder of 3D Girls, Inc. And so we are super excited to have this conversation today, working, homeschooling, Corona. Oh my, because it is so real. And while I wait, I'm going to take advantage of this moment to sanitize, because this has become the new normal. Just constantly putting on hand sanitizer for no reason at all. I've been in my house, I'm safe, but still, the Corona is real. How y'all doing today? I'm glad that you have joined us. We will be starting our live at 2 o'clock, and the topic is working, homeschooling, and Corona. Oh my. I don't know about y'all, but this has been the craziest week ever. I'm trying to figure out what movie I have auditioned to be in that I didn't know about, because I literally feel like I'm in a movie. Horror movie, to be exact. This joint has been mind-boggling how it's halted the world. Like, the whole world has literally slowed down. And so we wanted to take some time and check in with educators, parents, students, make sure we're not all losing our mind. Really touching base on that topic of working, homeschooling, and Corona. Oh my, because they are so overwhelming. So give us a few moments. We will be kicking off officially at 2. While you wait, let me know where you're from. I'm so curious, how has Corona affected you? Has it reached you yet? I don't know really many areas it hasn't reached yet, but I'm positive it has touched your life and affected you in some way. Here in Atlanta, The governor has called for the closing of all of our schools, so they are all officially closed, which has been wild. I have a 4-year-old, and homeschooling him all day has been so real. But we're making it through, and we are making progress as we go. Hey, Raioni. Hey, Noemi. It's good to see you all. I'm glad you've joined. Hey to everyone else that I may have missed. Those comments come in so fast. But again, we are super excited to be talking to y'all about working, homeschooling, and this coronavirus, and really check in and see how y'all are doing. Because if you are anything like me personally, you may be struggling a little bit, and I am more than okay with saying that this has been a challenge. This has been really surreal, and that this is different. This is incredibly different than anything we have ever experienced. I'm going to tag in the founder of 3D Girls Inc.
Hey girl.
Hey girl.
I didn't do my hair.
Oh, I only got dressed for y'all. I was like, let me do something with my life.
Yes, this life is hard. Corona Chronicles 101.
Corona Chronicles 101. So let's talk about it. Our topic is working, homeschooling, and Corona. Oh my. And I thought the title was so fitting because this new normal is not okay.
Girl, thank you for checking. Hey, Jamacia, girl. Thank you for checking in because it is tough. And when you sent me the ask to talk about this, it is very, very, very interesting. The way my life has flipped in a matter of a week. Okay.
Just like that. Hey, Anaria, see you, baby. This has been absolutely surreal, and I think more than anything, like, I'm a verbal processor. I talk through things to, like, deal with them, and so this whole I'm socially isolated, I ain't got no friends, I can't see anybody, this is not working for me.
It's hard. It is hard. It is definitely hard. So let's just get into like okay, so we've talked about how it's flipped us upside down, but
Yeah.
on a scale of 1 to 10, like 1 being absolutely awful to 10 being the absolute best, how would you gauge your work-life balance since we've been social distancing?
Okay, I'm going to answer this, but those of you that are watching, I want you to drop your 1 to 10 as well so we can get an idea of like how y'all are doing. So how has this week been for you in terms of your work-life balance on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being awful, 10 being the best. I would say for me, sis, I'm gonna have to just be honest. It's been like a 3. I was speaking to my husband the other day, like a week ago, when all of this was brewing, and I was like, watch, you're gonna be out of work and we're gonna all be in this house. And he was like, nah. And so here we are. And jokingly, I was like, that's my worst nightmare. Not because I don't love both of them, but I'm an extrovert. I enjoy being around people. My business, Restore More, is all about working in schools. And so when the school shuts down, my work shuts down. I've had several events canceled. I was hosting a huge event that you were supposed to be a part of this Saturday. And while I recognize, like, we're going to cancel it because everyone's safety comes first, like, I was hurt. I was big hurt. So this week has just been tough, dealing with all the emotions of like letting go of something you've worked on for 8 months, but then also just dealing with the reality that you're about to sit in the house with your child, be responsible for teaching said child, and still try to do some sort of work, whatever that looks like now.
Yeah, I get that. I think I'm at a cool, I want to say a cool 3. Having to restructure my schedule, trying to balance my kids, and like now it's like, okay, so while I'm doing this, what are my kids doing? Because they of course are here. And they are doing what they need to do. I'm doing what I need to do, but how do I balance that? And then I still have a part-time job, so like, you know, making time and space for that, and it's been a lot. But what I can say is much like what Brown Sugar Monet said, setting a schedule for myself and trying to stick with it is probably the best way to go in this time. Even some of my old students, like, hey, y'all, like, you know, we want to know what you guys are doing to balance. This is a new challenge for everybody. So the schedules are definitely a plus. I do like the fact I don't have to go anywhere. A lot of times, like you, Claudine, I had a lot of events planned. All of my classes for the month of March that I teach, they were canceled. So that's money, you know, pretty much out the door. So my income has changed for the month of March, and it's just a lot to think about. But what I do appreciate is that I've had positive people to speak life into me during this time. And so, you know, over the past couple of days, I have been able to get myself into this schedule, get myself into this lifestyle. So
it's funny you lifted up the comment that Kyra made about the power of a schedule. You know, my very first day from working from home with like me, my husband, and my son was Friday, and it was all me. My husband kind of was getting used to his digital learning. He's a teacher, and so I was like, oh, we can't do this again. It can't be all mommy, right? Like, I need you to tap in, even though you're working, because I'm trying to work too. And so the rest of this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, has gotten better, because now what we're doing is like he's teaching in the afternoon and I'm teaching him in the morning. And so at least that gives us breaks and some time to do the things that we have to do. But I totally agree with Kyra. That schedule has to drastically change because it looks so different now. And then we also have to just be mindful of how do we fit in all the moving pieces as mothers. And so shout out to those of the folks in the audience who are not parents and are able to utilize this time a little more freely just because they don't have those constraints. And I'm seeing that like the feeling is different, right? So one person said, it's been nice because I've always wanted to work from home. And I think if this is your first time trying out like teleworking, it sounds like it could be really freeing for some.
Yeah, and I get that too. Much like what you said, being able to work from home does limit my ripping and running. My children are very active in extracurriculars, so since all of those things have been canceled, it's like, oh wait, you know, I can have evenings for self-care, or I have evenings to spend time with my kids and not just always on the go. So that does feel really good. Right about now, I love the fact that, you know, I have that option. So
I would definitely say the like increase in family time has been nice. I had a Snapchat call yesterday with like 12 of my cousins. That was lit. It was really fun. And I think these are the types of things that are coming out of this that at least we can appreciate. How it's bringing us, it's so weird. Like how being separate is actually in some ways bringing us closer together because we have a lot more free time.
Yep. That is awesome. I do love the fact that, you know, I'm spending more time with my kids. It's me and my kids. I'm a single mother. And so we spend a lot of time together anyway. And one has one activity and another has another activity. And so, you know, we're always ripping and running. So we're always together. But this time has provided us to be more creative and create more spaces. My oldest daughter has, you know, been kind of a mentor to my youngest daughter in that, you know, helping with her homework, and we're all like sitting at a table together, working together, which is not always like the best because everybody can get distracted. But just being in the same place and knowing that we're all together is really cool. It's really cool, and it almost makes me wonder, like, what is life going to be like when we go back? Like, I don't know if I want to go back.
It's like I want the freedom to be able to come and go as I please, but I don't want to miss out on the slow moments that I've been able to just find gratitude in. Let me ask you this though: as a mom of two, have they been bickering a lot? Because, you know, I only have one.
Oh my gosh. So I referred to my kids as my coworkers this week. They have been reprimanded for fighting. and they already fight a lot. So I think it's just kind of the sister thing. Yeah, I think that's just what they do, and then having them fighting, and then at the end of the day, they still sleep in the same bed. Like, y'all are...
So y'all fine.
So y'all are okay, right? Why are you wasting my time being y'all? Like, come on now.
Well, on the other hand, when you only have one, they think it's okay to argue with you. We had a full-blown tantrum today because he fell off of his bike during exercise time. And that was a wrap. Like, we didn't get to any more instruction because he spent the next hour crying, tantruming, throwing himself on the floor once we finally made it to the girl. I'm like, coronavirus, when you gonna be over?
It's getting real. It's getting real.
When you gonna be over?
So
I guess that...
Do you feel like, since JoJo is home, like, how confident do you feel about homeschooling? You're an educator, you know, you've had your hand on children all over, but is that different, homeschooling your own child?
Yes, it is different. Number one, it is drastically different. But I do feel confident to be able to provide him with the resources that he needs and the learning that he needs. I think more than anything, I want to be mindful of, like, not overdoing it.
Yeah.
I read a post recently, it was today, and it was like from a veteran homeschool parent who's been homeschooling her 3 children for years, and she just shared, like, don't think that you need to do 8 hours a day of school at home.
Yeah.
And when I looked back over my little schedule for JoJo, I was like, I might have to readjust this because this is almost 8 hours of school. And so at 4, it might be a bit much. And so today's tantrum may have been just the evidence I needed to, like, take the pressure off of us as parents and, like, pull back just a bit. Like, It's okay to squeeze in a movie time. It's okay to squeeze in some unorthodox things. And just recognizing that even those of us who are educators, like, we don't have to be in educator mode all the time just because our kids are home with us. And if we are, they'll probably grow to hate us because all we want to do is get through this lesson. So it was a good reminder for me to, like, fall back a little bit and also be okay with playing mom. I don't have to be teacher the whole time.
I think for me, it's been like, my kids have been surprisingly, in terms of academics, they have been surprisingly responsible, to the point where, you know, as long as I provided the schedule, I haven't had to micromanage their activities. And so their teachers have been really good about calling, reminding, making themselves available, so that any questions that they have, we can get an answer. Like, my kindergartner's teacher called at least 2 times yesterday, or this week rather, to just make sure that we had logins, we had access, and we've just been on a roll. And so, like, now I've offered them time to, like, go outside, free time to read, like, you can play games on the computer, because you've already taken the initiative and you've already been, you know, diligent about getting your work done in the first part of the day. So it kind of makes it easy for me as the principal to kind of facilitate activities. I could just say, oh, okay, you did that. And then we use the schedules, like I said before, the calendars. And so I'm looking at their agendas, knowing what they completed. So, you know, I get to use my old teacher skills, put them to work. And I do feel confident about, you know, being here for my kids.
I think one challenge, too, is, like, when you have a younger child, you know, JoJo is 4, he'll be 5 actually at the end of March, but he's still very much like a toddler baby through and through. And so his level of support this week has been intense. Like, the reality is we have to engage with him. We have to be one-on-one. We have to be really plugged in. There is no, like, quality multitasking that is possible at this stage, and I have to rest in that and know that it's okay. And so I think that's just some of the tension that a lot of parents are facing, right? Like, privileged are we who get to stay home, but think about all of those who have to actually, like, go to work and then still come home and try to figure out, well, did you do your work? Are you on your game? My hats just go off to all the people that are still out and about because they have to.
Yeah, and that's real. in the same boat, and having to work too. And it's just real. It's a part of what we have come to at this point. Like, I don't have very many choices. So,
No.
Having great friends and having people, around to support me during this time is very critical, to help me watch the girls, to help me, be there and be at work. Like, I need a little bit of more support as a single mom. And so I'm just grateful, because some people don't have other people to help. So I feel good about that, but it is a challenge.
So with us like sitting in the challenges for a minute, let's pivot and talk about something positive in terms of like self-care, right? So what was like the thing that you did for yourself this week? I know it's only Thursday, but what have you done for yourself so far this week to keep sane? And parents, those who are watching, we'd love to hear from y'all. What y'all do this week to keep sane? Because we will steal those ideas.
Yes, absolutely. So the one thing that I did was I took a bubble bath. Like, I haven't taken one in a long time, and I had some candles that I bought from Bed Bath & Beyond. One was a eucalyptus one. And so I just kind of zoned out, chilled. I have a book, which normally right now I'm reading Well-Read Black Girls. It's a collection of just stories from African-American women who, how they fell in love with reading. And I thought that was a great way, or a great book to start with, since I haven't read like I've wanted to in years. And so just reading about other people's stories and how they've fallen in love with reading, helps me to fall in love with reading again. So being able to read and just chill and not be in a rush to do things, and on the go, that's been my highlight.
I think like it is those little things that we have grown to appreciate so much as of late. So Monday night, was it Monday night? I don't even remember. They're all blended together. But one day this week, I had the most fun having a Zoom call. And here is why. I had a girlfriend that I went to college with who decided that she was going to host a Zoom call to discuss a popular show. And so 90 Day Fiancé is one of my guilty pleasures. And so we had a Zoom call with like 9 folks from across the country. I didn't know any of them except for the one chick I went to college with. And when I tell you, we laughed on that Zoom call for 40 minutes and got our whole life talking about these folks we don't know. It was so nice to just unwind and have some fellowship with folks, because as an extrovert, being on the sick and shut in list is not cool. And I'm not even sick, right? But this is what social distancing is. It's staying away from large groups of people. And as entrepreneurs, like, our work runs in so many circles. We take for granted sometimes how many folks we engage with in a given week. And so bringing that from there all the way down to like 2, my husband and my son, that is it. I appreciated that, like, really simple self-care activity.
Yeah. That's cool. I think I'm like in need of adult fun, because I have little people around me 24/7. So being able to talk to you, Claudine, is a highlight as well, because I'm engaged in little people conversation all the time. So I bet that was super fun to be on a call. Yay! Good for you.
Girl, the highlight of my week. I was literally so excited. Let's talk about hopeful wonders. If you could change one thing during this time, what would it be? If you could change one thing.
To be real, a paycheck. Like, if I had a steady paycheck to come, I see a lot of people who are covered. I think it is important to think about small business owners and people who, who don't have health care during this time, people who don't have access to basic resources. I think it's important, to think about those things. If we collectively as a nation, I saw a post just about how all the things that we have done for this pandemic have been done so easily. Access to healthcare, access to elderly shopping earlier, access just the humanity component. Student debt being the interest being eliminated or on freeze at the time. Like all of these things that could have been avoided, or these things that could have been thought about prior to such chaos going on. Like, I wish that was like at the forefront. Humanity was at the forefront of all of this. Like it shouldn't be a debate. It shouldn't be so many different things for us to be taken care of as humans.
Yeah, I think that has been one positive, is seeing the way in which the government and the power that is capitalism has moved to give back in ways that have been helpful.
Yeah.
I will say that much. But I think if I could change one thing during this time, it would be, and I don't even know what the change would be, but I really worry about the babies that are going home or staying home in unsafe environments. Yeah. Like, I was thinking about, my husband and I were talking, and I was like, no, if this were happening to me as a kid, I'd have been all out of sorts. Yeah. Because I grew up in a toxic household. I suffered childhood abuse. And the thought of being at home, missing school, which was like my safe haven, right? Golly, I really feel like it might have crippled me. It might have taken me out a bit. Yeah. I literally remember at one point in school, we had like a snowstorm and we were out for 2 weeks. And I was like, 2 weeks, I don't know if I'm going to make it. So imagine being a child and being faced with this idea that I have to go home to this unstable, abusive, toxic household environment and not only try to survive like the world out there, but then this world in here where everyone is understandably like more stressed, more oppressed, financially unstable. I just worry about those students. So, and
I worry about the mental health and the emotional health of people who anticipated this part of the year. This is a time where seniors get excited about prom and graduation and all these great things that are coming. And it's just like, how do we support those young people who obviously, their dreams, the things that they have gone to school for years are snatched away from them. I have a friend who has a son who is graduating with his doctorate degree, but they canceled the commencement ceremony. So imagine, that one moment you get to relish in all of your accomplishments completely taken away. And there's no assurance. There's no assurance that, it'll happen. Is it just canceled, or is it something that we're going to come back and revisit? Like at this point, if we're thinking about today, it's canceled, and there's no idea if they're going to have the opportunity to celebrate those accomplishments. So I do think about those babies who, seniors looking for scholarships, wondering if it's even worth it to apply, feel a sense of self-doubt. And, I know a couple of them, so I'm definitely praying for them.
I think that's just exposes another challenging piece of this whole, debacle, is this sense of the unknown. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm totally optimistic and encouraged to know that, we'll come out of this stronger, but I am skeptical about the when, right? And so when we are sitting with such large questions like that, when will this be over? I think that fear and realization is setting in for some people, and so I encourage folks to put facts above fear, because it's easy to fall into the trap of when is this over? But knowing that it'll be all right, we will get through it. And like you said, just kind of keeping our hearts and minds focused on those who are the most affected. And I have so many students as well who are seniors, be it college or high school, and their whole life was just put on pause with you said, no remedy. No remedy.
Whole university system.
Yeah, just
Georgia. It's hard to think about, and as we think about them, I wonder what makes you grateful, in a place where our worlds have been shifted. What makes you grateful in this moment? What can we hold on to?
Great question. I think what it makes me most grateful for is like those little things. So I'm abundantly grateful for, my partner and the person I've chosen to raise a kid with. He is sticking it out and we are fighting this thing out together. And it's hard and it's messy, but I'm grateful for him. I'm grateful for my son. He is the one thing that is always a light. Even when other things can be dim, he is always bringing his positivity and joy, and it's infectious. And I'm grateful that like the people that I love, you, my other friends, my family, like they're safe as of right now. I don't know anyone like personally affected by this just yet, and I'm sure if we give it enough time, we might all. If we don't, maybe take heed. But I am grateful that right now, people have the power to like turn this thing around. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like if we each do our part and stay home and look out for one another and spread love, like we can each do our small little part that will make this thing hopefully move expeditiously out of our lives.
I do believe that people matter, and that's just what I was saying about the whole humanity thing. It's all about how we handle this as a people together, supporting. And I think, God has his way of showing us what's really important. Things are not in our control, obviously. And so it may take extreme measures to refocus our attention. And so that's what I'm grateful for. Just being able to kind of have a moment to pause from my always busy life and to, enjoy my children, to enjoy, thinking, not feeling pressured with deadlines and so many different things, that I can actually think and be creative again. Because I've gone through a period where, things weren't just coming naturally for me. It was just kind of like repetition, and I felt like I was in pitch practice all the time. And so I think for me, reigniting my focus and reigniting my mission and remember why I fell in love with what I do, remember why I made the choices that I made within the last year. So just an opportunity to reflect and be grateful is honestly what I'm grateful for.
That's dope, sis. I think one thing that I want to mention before we wrap is, and I will leave space for you to do the same, is one thing that we have been trying to do to help in this time is put together resources for educators. And so we have a Google Doc with like 130 links, some wellness links. We have some links to virtual field trips. We also have some sample schedules. So if that's a resource that you need, it is free. It doesn't cost anything. I would love to share it with you. Just drop your email in our DMs or here, and we will make sure that you get it. And then also, I'll be continuing to do lives throughout the next week just to bring us all together and kind of focus on some uplifting conversations. And finally, at Restore More, we are working on putting together a circle script so that you and your family at home can talk about coronavirus. I'm actually finished with it. I just need to get it like branded and all nice and neat and looking good. And then I will share that online. Again, all of this is free. We are just trying to uplift as many folks as we can from where we're at. So, yeah.
I think that's super important. We at 3D Girls did the same thing in terms of sharing resources. I am constantly putting out things to kind of help teachers and help people to navigate this space, because it is a new space, and developing content so that we can share it as well. But I am just grateful. We're looking to do something in the next couple of weeks for moms who are in need of items for their babies. So stay tuned for that. I'll be putting some things out next week because they're in the stores. There are a lot of items that are wiped out, and so we have the opportunity to share some of our resources. And so just stay tuned for that.
Yes, please let us know how we can help those mamas. I have a couple of cousins who are brand new moms, and they can't find wipes. They can't find diapers. Yeah. And so that struggle, I can't even imagine, or like being pregnant in this time. So in any way that we can support, please, let us know.
Yes, absolutely. Will do.
Thank you so much for being willing to do this with me, and I will chat with you soon.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
mama move like that?